Welcome back everybody, your typical bull here, and we are back with another lesson video. Before we get into it though, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment. Your support really helps the channel grow and it is appreciated. So we've been talking about support and resistance levels, and in this lesson, we're going to briefly go over that again. So a support level is a price where your stock is likely going to bounce. So here, this is support. Resistance is a price where it's likely going to fall down, which would be here. This is your support. This is your resistance. So that's fairly basic. On a chart, we can find them fairly simply. We're looking at a daily chart of SPCE. This is obviously your support level, because price is bouncing here several times and again several times. Okay, so we're going to expand on this concept of support and resistance. So let's get right back into that. Alright, so instead of a standard support zone, what if price is moving in this general areas? So you still have your supports and your resistance levels, right? But instead of just having a straight line here, we can draw a zone, a support zone instead of, and a resistance zone. And I prefer this to just your standard support and resistance levels. And the reason for that is they generally give you more accurate signals. So instead of using our horizontal line tool here, what we're going to be using is this rectangle tool. So a supply and a demand zone is just a little bit different than a support and a resistance zone. So what you're looking for when you're looking for these supply and demand zones are big price movements out of an area. So let me just circle a few here and show you what I'm talking about. See, this is a big price move. This is a big price move. It's a big price move. And what a supply zone is and a demand zone is an area where there are a lot of unfilled orders. So I'm sure there are a lot of buy orders in this area here, and price moves quickly away from that. So a lot of your more patient players, like your big banks and everything, they put these orders and they're very patient with them, so that way when price comes down and touches that area again, look what happens. Price gaps up as all of these unfilled orders that were left in this area fill. So it's a little different. Same thing with your supply zones. When there's too much supply, a lot of people see overvalue and then price rapidly moves down. So to find these on the charts, instead of just drawing our horizontal line like normal, which we would draw here, what we're going to do is we're going to draw this with a box. So this way we get a more accurate area. And as always, your larger time frames are going to be much more significant than your shorter time frames. So let's look at the weekly chart first. On our weekly chart, we can see price bounces here at this general area many times, but we've got a weird wick down here. So what we're going to do, we're going to enclose all of this price action in our little box here. Now we have a more accurate area. And I personally like to color these. So this is obviously support. So let's make our weekly support level green. price is touching this box area many times over. And it's not going to be perfect, of course. And there will be some weird wicks that do fall below the box like this. Okay, so now we've got our weekly support here, and if you want to, you can type in a little text box here. I do this sometimes. Let's just type in there weekly. This is our weekly support zone. And we'll just put that over there out of the way. And then we'll find our weekly resistance level, which would be here, in my opinion. Price touches here more recently twice and falls. And we can go ahead and mark this top area here just in case. So that's a very strong level. Price touches this area here and it drops very rapidly. So let's color that one red. And let's go ahead and color this one red as well. And we can type in here, we can type weekly. Right, and then we'll just stick that in that box there. So that way, when we move our time frames down, it'll be very obvious that we found these on the weekly chart. Now we can go to a daily time frame, and if you see, scroll out, you'll notice that it's weekly there. See, now we're on a daily time frame, and then we can find these levels as well. This looks like a very good level for our daily chart, right? So you can color code these as well. Notice there's some points here where price is bouncing, points here price is bouncing. We've got a couple bounces there. So that looks pretty good, right? Here's a gap up where prices. So we notice that we've got our main weekly chart here. We've got a lot of support in this area. But then on our daily chart, we're seeing some resistance in this area. Some resistance in this area. And then we break out, and now there's a little support in this area. Resistance in this area. So, and now if we even wanted to, we could do the same thing we did there. We could color this one a different color red maybe. Let's make that one a brighter red, and then we can type into this daily. Oh, it did not edit, which is weird. Change that daily, right? So now we've got our support levels marked. And we can actually even change this color to green since price is currently above that. Let's make that a darker green. There, now we can tell them apart. Weekly, daily. Cool. So this weekly resistance pretty well coincides with this on the daily chart as well. Now, if we wanted to even, we could scroll down to our 4-hour chart and look around here if we notice any other areas of importance in more recent time frames. And I don't personally see any other areas. And then I personally like to trade on the 1-hour chart, so we'll zoom in a little closer here. And this looks like a pretty recent resistance level. And if we notice here, it's a resistance, it's a resistance, it's a resistance. Price broke out, price retests, and then once again moves up to our weekly / daily resistance zone. And what happens? It moves down. These weekly levels are very important, as well as your daily time frames. So if you are trading on your smaller time frames, you need to continue to watch your larger time frames as well, because they offer very important levels. And this is fairly simple concept, right? But at the same time, it can also get quite complex, and there's not a very, um, it's more, there's some art form to it, but at the same time, you're looking for obvious levels that everyone can see because, you know, obviously you want other people to be buying when you are buying so that the price moves up, and you want other people to be selling when you're shorting so that price moves down. Let's go look at a couple more charts and just draw these zones. Let's go look at fuel cell here, right? So once again, we'll start on our weekly chart. And I'm not going to color code these. So we are on a weekly chart of fuel cell now. Here is a lot of price action, so we can just enclose this. And we'll just drag that all the way across to current price. And I'm just going to color code these different. So we'll make our weeklies light green, light red. We'll make our weekly support levels a green color, a light green color. Move down to our daily time frame. I think that that chart was a little messed up there, so let's go back to weeklies and just delete those because it appears that that chart is not cooperating properly. But now we're on our daily time frame. There we go. That looks huge. Yeah, I don't think that this chart is functioning properly. So here's our daily. Let's go ahead and mark these. This is a very obvious support zone. Lots of price action here. Make that one dark green. Here's some pivots and resistance levels here that we're likely approaching now. Let's make that one red. I'm not, personally, these unclear and untested areas like this here, I would go ahead and mark them, but I'm going to leave those white just because they're untested. And this one here, these are just areas that you should be aware of and possibly move your stop losses up when you approach them in order to keep from price rejections moving against you here. Okay, so now we can move down to our 1 hour time frame. See, me personally, I look at the 1 hour, the 4 hour, and the daily chart because I like to trade the 1 hour chart. So rule of thumb, you want to look 2 time frames ahead. 1 hour, 4 hour, and daily are the 3 that I use. But if you're trading on the daily chart, you should look at the daily, the weekly, and possibly the monthly chart. So now we're on the 1 hour chart, and we can start looking for our areas here. Here's one. If you notice, we've got a pivot here, pivot there, and that looks like a good price zone. Here's a couple of pivots here. It's a good price zone. Cool. I think that looks pretty good. So now we have some tradable levels here. Let's make our intraday stuff just this purple color. Perfect. So now we know areas where price is likely to reverse if it touches. What I imagine is if price does reject from here and move down to this area. Last time we got a huge move here, so I imagine price will move back up again from that area if it comes down here again. That is a very likely scenario. So what I can do is wait for that movement to start and then buy in on the way up, stop losses, and then I could target either this pivot here, I could target this pivot here, or I can get and target just below this zone here. and just move my stop up to break even once it gets to about this first level, and then if it passes that first level, I can move my stop up to that first level and then trail it all the way up. So that's going to about cover it for this, and next time we'll get into some indicators that I like to use when I'm trading these zones, and we'll get into the more specifics of the strategy itself. Once again, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment, and we will see you guys in the next one.